Good morning, Sangha. Thank you for coming today. This is only my second Dharma talk, the first time doing the whole thing through the whole thing. Sorry. So I'm a little bit nervous, as you could probably tell. I think I messed up a little bit there. But what I wanted to talk to you today is the femininity that often gets overlooked in Buddhism. Growing up, being raised by my mom and 5 sisters, I was kind of a little bit feministic, and I was very surprised when I found out that Buddhism was still quite patriarchal. That's why I was glad to come across Thich Nhat Hanh in the story of Buddha's life, Old Path, White Clouds. He made sure to make sure they were included and given the proper resonance that they deserve. And I also read The Novice by Thich Nhat Hanh. If you haven't read that, it's really interesting book. It's written in the same style as Old Path, White Clouds, differently than his usual books. It's like written as a story. It's a folk tale. I think it's taken from a true story, but it's also a folk tale. It's about a girl named Kim Tam who disguised herself as a boy to be a monk, because in Vietnam at the time they weren't ordaining women at all, and she really wanted to be ordained as a monastic, so she shaved her head and pretended she was a man and was accepted into the Sangha, and was doing really well in her practice and everything, until a village girl named Tai Mao fell in love with her, thinking she was a man. And she actually became quite obsessed with her. So much so that she devised a plan to steal her away from the Sangha. And she seduced a farmhand, one of her father's farmhands, and got pregnant by him, and then told everybody that it was Kim Tan. And so Kim Tam had a big dilemma there. She could either admit that she got Tai Mao pregnant, and they would let her leave the Sangha, and she would have to go and raise the baby with Tai Mao and get married, and or she would have to face the punishment, which was quite brutal. She chose, obviously, to deny what happened. She would steadfast to the truth, and she also didn't want to reveal the untruth that she had hidden about being a woman. So she was beaten quite severely with a large pole, and within an inch of her life, she almost died right there. And so she ended up, how did it go? She ended up, Tai Mao ended up leaving the child alone in the field and ran away. And Kim Tan saw that. She ran down and picked up the child, and she was nursing it. And well, she had to go find somebody in the village to nurse it because she couldn't do it. And when she became sick and finally died, not from the beatings, but she became sick and died, and they found out that she was a woman. And they they ended up having a big ceremony for her. They started to allow women to ordain, and as the story goes, she became the first female incarnation of Avalokiteshvara, or Kuan Yin. So that's kind of interesting. I really liked that story. Like I say, if you can get it, I recommend reading it. Hopefully, I didn't mess up the sequence too much. Then, when it comes to Buddha not ordaining nuns, women, I think he was concerned for their safety, because you have to go out and get alms. He already admitted and said that women could be just as awakened as a man. But there's a lot of unwise people, unskillful people, as there still are today. And he was afraid that women would be attacked. And his aunt, Maha Prajnapati, the one that raised him after his mom died, when he came back, now, sorry to backtrack here, when Buddha left, there's some people that say that Buddha left his wife and kid and went out to practice. That's not true. Siddhartha, who was very confused and upset about the suffering of the world, he left his wife and child. And when the Buddha woke up in him, he came back. So Siddhartha may have left, but Buddha didn't leave. Buddha came back. And so when he came back, he taught his son Rahula, and he taught his wife Mahayashodhara, and he taught his aunt who raised him, Mahaprajapati. And she was actually very vocal in wanting to ordain, and he kept saying, no, you can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't do it. And so she ended up organizing a grassroots movement, and they walked like 300 kilometers or 300 miles, I can't remember, in their bare feet, through the forests and everything to where the Buddha was, and presented himself to them and to Buddha. And Buddha ended up conceding their point, because yes, women can be ordained, and if they're that devoted, so he finally gave in, and yes, he ordained nuns. Mahayashodhara, his wife, it said in Old Path White Clouds that she knew he was leaving. She got his stuff ready. She got, I think his name was Chana, the horse rider or the chariot driver, to get his stuff ready. And so it said in the book that she was pretending to sleep. Now, I don't know how much of the book we can take for sure. I know he's thrown in some of his some elements in there, but at the back of the book, every single chapter has the sources where he got his information from. So I take that to be the definitive source of definitive story of his life. And so Yashodhara was behind him the whole way. She was very upset to lose him, of course, but she knew he had to go. Now we know the story about him going out and training under many teachers and not finding what he was looking for, and he was down to really asceticism, where he was only eating, said, a grain of rice a day, and he was near death. He was traveling. He fell by this tree that happened to be the tree that this woman, or this girl, Sujata, used to come and make offerings to the tree gods. And Sujata, when she was on her way to make offering to the tree god, thought that this might be the manifestation of the tree gods. She saw Siddhartha there, and he was really skinny and like looked close to death, and there was a glow about him, that made her think that he was like a spirit of the tree. So she fed him this milk and rice bowl that she had, and he took it, and this saved his life. You know, a lot of stories of the Buddha. This meeting here is like just a footnote, and it's just oh, she offered him this and that, and that's it. But she saved his life, and after that, he had the strength to go wash in the river and sit under his tree and say, "I'm not moving from this spot till I become awakened, and can you please bring me more of that stuff every day?" And so she did, and yeah, he was able to find the middle way, and he woke up, and we know the rest of that story. I don't want to go too far because it's a very long story of Buddha's life. But so after he awoke, there was still a couple more women that were very instrumental to the Sangha, besides Mahaprajnapati and Mahayashodhara. There was Bhikkhuni Kima or Kama, I can't remember how to pronounce it. She was consort of King Bimbisara. And she was very beautiful, and she was very vain about it. And the king wanted her to go see Buddha so many times, but she kept refusing, saying, "No, I can't go. I can't sully myself and go out there in all the mud and all that stuff." But he finally got her to go. And when she got there, the Buddha greeted her, and he told her, stories of how people are great beauty. They end up being old, going through the four signs. Everybody goes through the four signs: sickness, aging, and death. And youth, sickness, aging, and death. And she listened to his Dharma talk and became awakened, it said. And she became so instrumental that she was like the female version, I don't guess, of Shariputra. So she was just as wise as he was. And then there was Upalavara. She was Bhikkhuni Upalavara. She was also very beautiful, from a very wealthy family, but she had a lot of suitors vying for her, and she didn't like it. She didn't like all this attention that she got. She didn't like the fighting that ensued. So she ran away and gave it all up and went to see Buddha, and he ordained her as a nun as well. And it was said that she was in the forest, and she encountered Mara, much like Buddha did, under his tree, and she fought him off. And between her and Bhikkhuni Kama, they both were very instrumental with Mahaprajnapati leading the nuns and teaching the nuns. I left Buddha's mother till the end because there's a strange story I just found out about her. We know that she died 10 days or a couple weeks after he was born. She passed away. And that's where he first started learning about suffering, I guess, right away. And there's a story where the Abhidharma was conceived. So he meditated and rose up to Mount Sumeru in the heavens of the 33 Devas, where Indra is said to reside. And he found his mother there, who was incarnated as a deva, a god named Santushita. And he taught her the Abhidharma. And when he was up there for, I think, a couple months, and he would come back every day, and he would summarize to Shariputra. And so Shariputra was the only one who knew about the Abhidharma. He didn't teach the Abhidharma any other time. And Red Pine, I was reading his commentary on the Heart Sutra, and he is convinced that Mahamaya went to become Santushita, who in turn went to become Avalokiteshvara. So, in a way, Buddha's mother was Avalokiteshvara, according to Red Pine, because in the Heart Sutra, Avalokiteshvara is kind of criticizing the Abhidharma and changing it in a way so no, even the skandhas are empty. Everything is empty. And this went against the Abhidharma a little bit. And so there's, he's convinced that Buddha's mother ended up being Avalokiteshvara. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But, whether that's true or not, you want to take that with whatever grains of salt there is, whatever. But I thought that was very interesting. Yeah. I think that's all I have there. I didn't really come up with a good ending, so I'm just going to leave that as it is there. And just if you get to read Novice and Old Path White Clouds, Old Path White Clouds is like this thick. It's a very, very thick book. Really good book though. And Novice is a great book. But I'm just going to leave you with that. Thank you very much.